Welcome to another exciting episode of
Radio Talk,
in which we write the current of history, culture, and innovation. Today, we start on a musical trip across time, investigating radio's impact on society. I'm Adam, and we will be examining how this modern technology has had a profound and subtle impact on our world with our friend Zulaika, Shasha, and Shah. Not to be overlooked, there is a guest on this show who is more informed than us on this topic, a well-known figure in Malaysia, which is HANIF HAMZAH.
Do you guys know that year is 1920 and a breakthrough gadget, the radio has entered our life, but it's more than simply a box with knob. It's a portal to a new era of communication, connecting people across geographies and cultures. Consider a period before the internet when you could hear conversation from far away in the comfort of living room.
Yes, correct. The radio was more than just a device. It was a shared experience. Families gathered in anticipation of breaking news, music, and stories that crossed borders. Radios became the lifetime of communities, providing a sense of belonging.
And as the world changed, radios were at the center of information distribution. During tragedies and conflicts, it was a lifeline, delivering real-time updates that kept people in touch during times of distress. However, radio's power extends beyond that of a messenger. It is a cultural influence.
The sound of antique commercials, a smooth jazz music, and a crackling radios introduced new music genre, featuring musicians, and served as a platform for dramatic storylines. It was simply a box. It was a gateway to a new world of enjoyment.
However, radio's effect stretched beyond the areas of art and entertainment. It had political influence and was used for propaganda and political communication. Government used the airways to change public opinions, leaving an enduring stamp on political landscape.
Radio was the platform through which leaders interacted directly with their citizens. It was more than just a transmitter of words. It was a conduit for ideals that expressed across the airwaves.
However, Zulaika, radio acted as a spark of activism and social transformation during a period of unstable politics. It gave the voiceless a stage and a place to share their tales of injustice and courage. It served as a light for social justice in addition to being a broadcaster.
Through the radio, activists' crackling voice challenged the status quo and sparked movements. Radio evolved as a tool for inclusion, dismantling boundaries and providing voice to the voiceless.
Radio is more than just apart from the past, as we discover when we travel across the wave of history. It is technical innovator setting the stage for further advancement in communication in the future. The concept behind radio transmission has impacted the growth of satellite communication, television, and the expanse of internet.
Do you guys know that the long-distance radio technology of the past provide the foundation of the global connection that we take for granted today? The first step towards a more linked world was taken by radio.
We also cannot ignore radio's economic impact in our investigation of its social impact. The rise of radio advertising changed customer behaviors, redefining commercial tactics and opening up new markets for trade.
Products were no longer just commodities. They were experiences communicated via the persuasive power of radio voice. The jingles and the slogans become the part of the social mind, influencing how we see and want.
As we get to the end of our audio journey, let's consider how radio has the ability to democratize it. It served as a medium that empowered people on an individual and community level. Not only as a source of information, radio's cost and accessibility made it possible for voices to be heard, removing obstacles to information and promoting a better informed public.
The influence of radio is evidence of its capacity to unite people and create bridges between disparate groups, from small radio stations supporting community development to educational broadcasts reaching far corners of the globe.
Thus, as we get to the end of our historical journey, we discover that radio is more than just a tool, rather an internal force that sends throughout the memories of our common experience. Come explore the various ways that the past influence our present and future as we write the radio thought together once more. Until then, pay attention, maintain curiosity, and follow Radio Talk for more segments.
Welcome back to
Radio Talk!
Previously, we have talked a little bit about the history of one of the world's genius invention, which is the radio. So, we continue on with our second segment, the highlight one of the crucial impact of radio towards society, which is radio as a medium for education and awareness.
So we all know that radio has been a widely used mass communication tool from the moment it was created up until now. It was not a shocker that a tool like this has been a very huge contributor towards the spread of education and awareness to society. While not all radios are made with the prime objective to educate, all of them do, however, make a conscious effort to teach and promote awareness, especially on matters that concerns society as a whole.
That is true. There are few radio programs or radio stations in general that are used specifically for education purposes. For instance, in Malaysia, one of the radio stations that has a segment focusing on awareness is KLFM. KLFM has a specific segment in which they discuss current issues that are happening in Malaysia. Usually, during this segment, the radio host will be accompanied by an expert who is well versed in the topic.
I think I also heard about another example that can be given, which is National Public Radio, NPR, in the United States that provides educational programs ranging from education, current affairs, science, and health.
Do you guys know that using radio as means to educate and spread awareness has its advantages? Radio as oral medium that covers a wide varieties of content can help in reaching non-literate audience ranging from adults to children who cannot read yet. Not only that, radio can also reach this disabled audience such as audience who are blind.
But how does this happen? Well, the language that radio uses during the broadcast can help it making people concentrate and imagine things. This could help non-literate, that blind audience, to better understand language and widen their vocabulary while also getting new knowledge.
Radio are also easily accessible, costless, and have a wide coverage, making it easier to reach areas with limited access for formal education, such as remote or marginalized communities. Radio has enabled millions of villages to receive information of all kinds. Radio is extensively used in distance and non-formal education in both advanced and developing countries. The advent of modern technologies could not alter the role of radio, especially for rural areas. Unlike printed words or any other media, radio has the benefits of reaching even the most secluded areas, and the messages can be easily understood as it requires no prior knowledge.
Oh yes, I also heard that a study by United Kingdom Open University shows that radio holds more significance for students who profit from radio as an additional tool for studying. This makes radio more economical and amplified learning outcomes. For example, in India, radio has been used successfully for rural education and development.
True. In fact, many institutions are utilizing radio as an affordable and local extra platform to broadcast their educational material. These initiatives in educational radio show that radio can effectively deliver high-quality education and training to individuals who requires it.
I believe radio is considered good at meeting the specific needs of learners in different regions. When radio broadcasts are distributed, it helps create strong connect between teachers and students. Using the local language during broadcast can make it easier for students to understand and learn.
It also needs to be pointed out that radio serves as a valuable tool for offering additional teaching sessions to address learning gaps, along with supplying various types of tutorial-based feedback like adjustments, revisions, or updates to educational content.
Radio also plays a pivotal role in spreading awareness to society. Radios have one of the most unique ways in order to spread awareness about certain issues. Oftentimes, radio uses the feature of storytelling in order to captivate the listeners by using carefully crafted narrative and empathetic choice of words. The radio can convey the message of important issues such as physical and mental health, climate changes, or even social issues using a brilliant storytelling. It can help evoke emotions and inspire people to care more about these issues.
Another way to spread awareness is through making engaging content such as interviews with experts. These experts can be anyone who is knowledgeable enough about their topics. For instance, a doctor for a topic regarding health. Experts can help in sharing their knowledge and providing intellectual information that needed by society to help broaden their horizon about certain issues that are happening around the globe.
Because of radio's role in providing real-time information and recent update to the listeners, they have the ability to deliver information across borders and act as a reliable source of information when such info is limited.
Radio is also trusted because it is live, local, and listener-focused. Local radio also acts as a hub for information exchange, such as addressing community concerns or providing insights about important issues, thereby creating awareness and participation between communities.
Clearly, radio has done a great job in being the medium for education and awareness for society. Throughout benefit of accessibility, wide coverage, affordability, as well as its functions such as fostering discussion and promoting information. Radio has helped create a great society.
Because of radio's role in supporting education and awareness, society can become more socially progressive, technologically advanced, economically developed, and environmentally sustainable. So we have talked and explored enough about radio as a medium for education and awareness towards society. Undeniably, radio does contribute to shaping a better society. Let us take a small break before we carry on with the next segment that allow us to further explore the impacts of radio, but this time with a very special guest. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned.
Hi everyone! Okay, welcome back to our discussion on radio's impact. We've got special guest today with us, Encik HANIF, HAMZAH. Hi!
Hi, everyone.
Okay, thank you for having us today. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. How are you guys?
We're fine.
Okay.
So I will start with the first question.
Okay.
Considering the historical impact of radio, how do you think its role has evolved over time, and what's impact that it had on communities?
Okay, so I think let's talk about how it has evolved over time. When I started radio, it was somewhere in 2008 as a radio announcer, but I was already working there in 2005. So this was, I guess, the start. That time was the start of social media, or the use of social media for radio. So that's very new for radio. Prior to that, radio was only on air, and it is an audio platform. Most people would have listened to it tuned through a radio at home or a frequency radio in the car, or that time there were portable Walkmans that can find a frequency radio. So when you talk about evolving to radio, the start of radio, I believe, was not for entertainment or music. It was a form of communication. a form of sending out government propagandas, for instance. In fact, during war times, there was a time where some countries were saying no radio because they were used as an opposition tool, right, to fight back. Now, radio is continuously evolving from, I think, the early 2000s when social media started to impact everybody. Society use social media. There's no running away from it. You can say, I don't have Facebook, you probably have Instagram. I don't have Instagram, you probably have TikTok, right? So 2005 onwards, as I remember it, radio had also evolved along the lines of social media, meaning every station now has a social media account. And radio had also added on visuals. What I'm trying to say is we no longer just perform or entertain or inform on audio. We would have cameras around us, not all the time, but sometimes. Also, those things we had to learn through it. We were discussing about whether we should just go live on radio and live on TV immediately, or live on radio and live on YouTube also. So it was very new to us, but we evolved. So now, I think every radio in Malaysia would have some sort of visual content, some sort of TikTok, some sort of YouTube channel. Even podcasting is part of radio now. They're separate entities, but I think the idea is the same. The idea has always been to focus on your core target, right? You would know that some stations, they target the older crowd, some stations, they target the business owners, some stations, they're young and the hip students. So as long as the core is the same, we can evolve through different platforms, that's fine. Now, the impact on society, I feel that the importance of radio information, churning out information, was more in probably the 90s, the 80s and the 90s, where you didn't have much platforms to get information, right? There was the newspaper. There was only 3 channels on TV. You didn't have cable TV. There was no internet, right? And so radio was your source of information. More important than entertainment was correct information. Announcement of banjir was there. The announcement of penyakit macam dengue was there. And most of it was through RTM radio stations, where they have state stations. That means government has the information, send it out to radio stations, and then they will let you know what to do. So that is very impactful. And throughout the years, while you now have commercial stations where we don't have to say what the government wants us to say, but we abide by certain rules. For example, we are not allowed to talk about the 3 R's, race, racial, religion, kan? What's the 3 R? Race,
races, religion. Royalty.
Royalty.
Okay. Yes, that. Thank you.
Welcome.
So those things we still abide by those rules, because no matter what, license are from MCMC, and we also don't want to create panic. The power of radio can create panic, and it has happened before in places like South Africa, and they can quickly take over and topple governments. Radio has done that, so that's the impact on society. For stations like mine, while we are entertainment based, we don't really have to say what the government wants us to say. Sometimes the government have to buy ads so that we say what they want us to say. Even over the years, as you get information from TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, radio has always been a trusted medium. Maksudnya, because we have to report to MCMC, we are being watched. We cannot give you fake news. Right? When fake news comes out from a station like ours, it means we are breaching the trust of the people to us. Right? And so, if you're getting, I think this is the one thing that is still impactful and the strongest towards society. Of course, you can get your information from the TV channels, news, Awani, you have Britain Utama, and so forth. But the thing about news on TV is you need a camera, you need a background, you need the script ready, and then you talk. And then it goes out. Now you need a TV at home to get the information. Radio is slightly different because all cars got radio. Yeah. And if I get the information, and I know this information is correct from my bosses, we have a news team, They say we must read this now. Just I on the mic and I say it's faster, right? So forever the impact of radio will be that we can get information out really fast. Although you see era as most stations are now doing entertainment, but if push comes to shove, that means there is a need for us to warn. Radio will be one of the first to let you know. So I think recently when you get information, trust is quite an issue where you can get information from Facebook, you can get information from TikTok, you can get a lot of things from Instagram, but are
It's
they
not trusted.
okay? Right. Can you really trust it? Now you have to double check with sebenar.my, and then now you have to like tag MC. So radio already has that system from years ago. We've been around 30 years, 40 years giving out information, and this is already a system. We cannot just say something because I boleh kena buang kerja. The station boleh ditarik lesen. That's how important correct information is. Because it's dangerous. If I give out fake information, it's very, very dangerous, right? Itu information lah. Other than that, based on entertainment, we are very careful because although people love gossip, we are a big station. Maknanya we are more open to people suing us, correct? So things that I give you an example, things that in court ke, orang tengah sama menyaman ke, we stay out of it. We don't want to talk about it, right? So those are things that I feel has still impact on society. Maybe your age group tak dengar radio sangat lah, but I think MH370 was quite the impact around the world, right? Don't know what happened to the plane that time. Radio was kind of like a big source of information because we could churn it out every few minutes. Kita boleh cakap right? So that's it. That's how I feel how radio has an impact on society lah.
I see. So Hanif, considering
Yes.
the educational aspect, how do you
Okay.
see radio's role in spreading information and contributing to the educational landscape?
Okay, I think that is very that really differs. Meaning, different stations has different styles of. Again, I'm focusing on entertainment radio because I'm from an entertainment radio. But what we have is sometimes we carry news that has big impact on Malaysia. I always give the example of MH370 and the big floodings in 2014. So those things kita akan ubah from entertainment to become informative. Other than that, we're always entertainment. We want to make you smile and laugh, right? We also touch heart. Sometimes ada benda yang people tengah bersedih, then okay, kita berduka bersama. But I lost the train of thought. Your question is?
Educational purpose.
That's why I was talking about entertainment. Okay, so it differs, right? If you talk about business radio stations, currently there are a few. It wasn't a trend back then. They are more educational than a station like mine. Okay? Sebab our educational, when we become educational, we want to become educational. It's not the core purpose of our station, the one I work for lah. And it's not just my station. A lot of stations are like that. A lot of the stations, of course, radio, first and foremost, entertain. Through entertainment, you get advertising money, right? And advertising is profit. So it depends on the station. If their target is to educate, then go on and become an educational station lah. News station to me is the most educational. So sometimes they talk about finances, sometimes they talk about how to make loans, and then Padu, the recent thing. For our station, we haven't spoken about Padu. We don't really speak about finances. We don't really speak about mathematics unless there are special days. Macam every now and then 3 pagi era, the three boys, I don't know whether you know them, Ratin, Azad and Nabil. They have a special day every 2 weeks, I think, and then they have one select day, so they will call an expert to talk about something. Contohnya baru ni, there was virality about ular. So they will call a snake expert and talk about it. What do we do? Okay, there's a reason to it. While we want to educate, we cannot just churn out an idea from our heads and expect people to keep listening to it. People are not like that. Let's not lie to each other, right? People only want to be educated on things they're interested in.
Yes.
Therefore, a lot of stations, when they want to do something educational, macam 3 pagi era tu, they wait for something to be trending, and then, oh yeah, we can teach them about this. Because now, this thing that is trending is creating interest amongst people, then there's the right time to educate. Okay, I think, I don't know, another example would be, saya tak ingat, okay, kita pernah panggil bomber to come to tell us what is best to prepare for banjir, for instance. Tapi it had to be masa orang tengah bercakap pasal banjir, then we do it. We cannot do it 3 months away just because we want to be educational. No one's going to listen. The biggest worry of any station is you tune out of my station because my station is boring. Okay? And once you tune out, nak tune in balik itu macam mana? Like you have to search. To me, if you're locked on one station, I'm going to keep you locked. And I will keep you there. Right? Therefore, if you want to be educational, you better become fun educational. You better make sure that people want to listen to this. If not, I'm going to lose you. There's so many other stations just like Era. I will lose your attention, So that's how I feel. We do educational topics. We do educational shows. Tapi tak selalu lah. It's during when people are interested in certain topics. Okay?
Okay.
And you,
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I pandang orang lain pula.
And thank you. That was a very interesting response. So we're shifting gears a bit. We are kind of intrigued towards the impact of storytelling on radio. Like, how do you think the narrative or the voices that happens through the radio contribute to societal perspective?
How do the voices?
How do the narrative or the way the hosts talk contribute to the perspective of the society?
Oh, a lot. The way the host talks, I don't know whether the way the host talks contributes to society, but it does create interest. It does pull people in to listen. Now, I've noticed along my years, radio, they tend to hire people with less squeaky voices. Squeaky macam, alah, I nak buat kan.
Suara kecil lah.
West skip please.
Suara kecil, correct. Suara kecil.
Suara kepit.
Because, I mean, I don't know how to professionally say it because suara kecil, bila you bercakap lama, it can be quite tajam. Dia jadi tajam.
Yeah.
Bukan annoying tu macam orang tu annoying lah. Tak, dia jadi tajam kan. So most radio stations, even if you're a girl, your voice would always have a certain tone to it. I'm not saying everybody, I'm just saying sometimes. So I don't know, maybe that one has very psychological impact in people listening to you. Right? But throughout the world, most leaders also have a very deep tone. I don't know whether that could be, I tak tahu you boleh samakan ke tidak. Macam the current Prime Minister, can you imagine him having a squeaky voice? And I don't know, maybe psychological in human's mind, a leader has to be a leader has to have
A deep voice lah, a deep voice.
Right, it creates a charisma. So sama, narrative and the voice is very important. Narrative, bila bercerita ni, and to me, because I've been in bahasa Melayu radio station for the longest time, I've never switched, right? And I feel orang Melayu ni suka bercerita. Kita ni kalau ikut pada kita punya story hang tuah pun, the way it's written, macam penglipu lara tau. Dia bercerita from one person to another, and we carried on this culture of wanting to know. Kadang-kadang kita menyebut juga, we carried on this. So the narrative of telling the story is very important. Very, very important. Plus, you could have the same story in different stations, but how you pick to tell your story tu akan membezakan you daripada the other stations lah. So that's always dependent on the radio announcer. Kalau I setakat baca je benda yang keluar dekat say Beautiful Nara lah, itu baik you baca je kat Beautiful Nara. You know what I mean? If I baca je from something I tak tahu, something funny on say Awani, then you might as well just go and watch Awani. So how do you make that narrative unique for your listeners, unique to your listeners to enjoy? You know, because say Sina and Era, we can have the same news, but how do we uniquely tell you the news? How do we tell you Nabila Razali baru kahwin? How? That's very important.
How do you deliver
For me,
lah?
how do you deliver it? It makes a difference. In terms of business, it's very important. Baru ni Nabila Razali kahwin contohnya, I'm sure Sina will take it too. Although we are under Astro Radio, right? Kita kena compete benda tu. Kan? We're friends, but are friendly competitors. You know? And say diorang punya style, because diorang punya older crowd, maybe they will go on the lines of Alhamdulillah, syukur, semoga ke anak cucu, apa yang agaknya nama anak. Because the older crowd would love that kind of conversation. Ours really is, push, kaya husband dia. And then we can call that, and he's a push, besar yang wedding. You know, it's very different how you want to approach it. I'm not saying you're going to like mine better. It doesn't matter to me. What I'm trying to say is, it's very different how you project your story lah. And dalam radio, kita tak boleh panjang sangat. Orang akan tune off. Radio is not just what we talk about. First and foremost is the music. Orang nak juga dengar music. Can you imagine radio jadi podcast bercakap 2 jam baru dia dengar music? Impossible. Nobody is going to allow it. You're going to lose everybody. So podcasting walaupun dia macam radio, because it's an audio sharing session and visual comes secondary video macam ni secondary kan, so audio dulu kita tak boleh panjang-panjang macam radio. The max I can do for me and Ray sekarang ni is 3 minit, 2 minit setengah, 3 minit. So narrative you tu dia kena lagu, dia kena, you take the nice ones, okay lagu. Kita orang kalau 5 minit bercakap tu, bos akan call tau, what you guys doing terus. Dia ada set rules daripada dulu kita train ourselves. If you're alone, minute tak sampai seminit kita bercakap. Right, how do you entertain people when you have 1 minute per talk break? Dia panggil talk break lah, lagu iklan per talk break, right? So narrative of how we tell a story is very important. Okay, this is proven. Kita minta orang, kita radio announcer ni, bos-bos suruh cakap pendek, bukan suka ikut sedap dia, tak, it's a research. They did a research, they ask around, you know, and maybe the older generations would like it maybe slightly panjang sikit. Tapi untuk the younger crowd, so where I work, it has to be minute. Even shorter now. YouTube shorts, 15 saat je day. You know what I mean? And still you're entertained, right? But there's a difference. Yang tu ada visual lah. My challenge is that I got to say
Deliver
something
without video.
right. I have to make you visualize. And that's more empowering sebenarnya. What I say you have to visualize, I cannot control what you visualize, right? And that has more impact to me. Okay?
Okay, wonderful insight, Encik Hanif. Hanif. Okay. Now we look to the future. Considering the digital era, how do you see the role of radio evolving with the rise of streaming platform, podcasts, and online stations such as Spotify?
Okay. I'm just using my the station I work for as an example, yeah. All this while we were called Era FM, radio nombor 1. Okay. But as we move along, kita dah melalui fasa-fasa berbeza. Fasa internet was one fasa. Fasa social media is another fasa. Now dia tengah fasa apa tau? Short videos, right? And we are on every platform. Even if you're a small station, contoh macam Rakita plays local stations only KL. Diorang pun ada, YouTube ada, TikTok ada. You must be there. So with the rise of streaming platforms and podcasts and everything else, we will be there too. Kita ada juga kita punya Shock app. Shock app is where you can get all these podcasts and all stations under one roof. It's called SYOK. You download pun tak apa. We just have to be there. It's our own streaming platform. So on Shock ni, we don't just have era, we have era indie, we have era K-pop. Now I can make a playlist based on what type of music you like, but it's on Shock. It's not going to go on air. Kan? Lagi satu I nak cerita is, I think maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago, if you notice, stations under Astro Radio ada beberapa. Kita ada era like Suria, not Suria, Sina. Kita ada Gegar, kita ada banyaklah a few. We took away the FM out. Officially, we are no longer called Era FM.
Ya, Raja.
Here's why. Because we don't want people to see us as radio and one day become obsolete. We don't want people to just see us as radio and one day radio dah tak payah dah. So we brand it as Era because we will give you content wherever you are looking. We'll be everywhere.
TikTok,
That's why.
Instagram.
Sorry?
TikTok, Instagram, like that.
We're going to be everywhere. So walaupun you all tahu radio, we don't want to call it radio lah. We're just going to call it we are Era. We're from Era. I'm from a radio station, Era. That one day is going to become the host of Era podcast. That one day is going to be the face of Era TikTok. I believe this is how we move forward. So as people are fearful, radio is going to die out. Well, maybe radio is going to die out, but content will never. Era will remain as content providers and entertain you forever. We will continue to evolve, you know. And I think historically, many years ago, people thought when TV came about, I rasa kalau kat Malaysia ni maybe TV untuk orang kaya 1970s lah ada lah. Orang kaya lah. You kena ada lesen, you kena ada, ni kena bayar lesen tau nak ada TV ni. Everybody thought radio is done. Pasal dah ada TV lagi best. I can see visual. Radio did not die. And then there was colour TV later on. People were saying radio is going to die. No, radio did not die. You know, it's still that old school media that people consume. I cannot say entirely why, but I believe partially is because the strength of radio is orang percaya radio ni. Orang sangat percaya radio. It's easy to get to. You're always in the car, and bila mendengar radio, you can do anything else. Tengok TV tak boleh. You boleh buat kerja sambil dengar radio. You boleh study sambil dengar radio. Boleh ke TV, YouTube sambil dengar radio? Itu tak boleh. So forever that part of human interaction tu akan sustain radio. But kita tak boleh belagak and say tak apa lah, tak payah TikTok lah, tak apa lah, tak boleh. So we name ourselves Era so that our content remains the core business and finally evolve into it lah. Whether it's going to be streaming and who knows, one day I tak tahu apa lagi yang akan muncul kan, but we'll be there. It will be.
Okay. Thank you, Hanif Hamzah, for spending your time with us, and we
Thank you so
had
much.
so much information from what you have delivered to us. Welcome back to segment 4,
Frequency found.
where we explore the hidden stories behind the things we hear every day. Today, we're tuning into the powerful magic of radio.
Radio's impact on entertainment and culture is undeniable. It gave birth to musical giants, nurtured shared experiences, redefined storytelling, and democratized language, even in its digital age. Its legacy continues to resonate.
Let's rewind. Imagine crackling speakers, families huddled around, laughter echoing through home. Radio wasn't just a technology, it was a cultural phenomenon.
Absolutely. It was the birthplace of genre like jazz, rock and rolls, and hip hop. Every radio station embraced diverse musical style, exposing audience to new sounds and creating a melting pot of musical innovation.
But radio wasn't just about music. It was a shared living room for the nation, popular for its diverse programming. Era offers several comedy shows like Getaran Jiwa and Lagu-Laguku that combine humorous sketches, parodies, and witty banter with music and listener interaction.
Also known for its youthful and humorous vibe, Fly FM features several shows with comedic elements: The Breakfast Show with Douglas Lim and Juanita, Fly Drive with Ryan, and The Weekend Show with Kevin J and Ryan Holland. All incorporate humor and entertain banter alongside music and current affairs.
This show fosters a sense of belonging and shared experience, solidifying radio's role as a cultural touchstone. Even in the age of podcasts and streaming, the magic of radio storytelling live on.
Radio also revolutionized how we tell stories. With only sound to paint their picture, radio writers and actors master the craft of evocative description and nuance performance. This intimacy between narrator and listener continues to inspire storytellers across different media.
And let's not forget the power of language. Radio become a melting pot of voices and dialects, breaking down geographical barriers and enriching cultural understanding. Local station connected immigrant communities, preserving cultural heritage and fostering a sense of belonging.
Thanks for joining us on
Frequency Found.
Until next time, keep exploring the hidden stories behind the things you hear every day.
So, what do you all think? Our discussion on radio's impact has been quite insightful, hasn't it?
Absolutely! It's fascinating to see how radio has woven itself into the fabric of society over the years.
And let's not forget the cultural influence. Music and trends spread like wildfire through radio waves.
True, but we mustn't overlook the educational aspect. Radio has been a powerful tool for information, dissemination, and learning.
You know, it's the diversity of impacts that makes radio so unique. It connects people in various ways.
Definitely. No matter where you are, radio has this magical ability to create a shared experience.
And let's not forget the power of storytelling. The narrative we hear on radio have a profound effect on shaping our thoughts.
Yes, it's like a communal storytelling experience that binds us together.
As we wrap up, what strikes me is how radio continues to evolve from the traditional broadcast to online streaming and podcasts. It's adapting to the digital era.
True, the essence of radio lives on, just in different forms. It's impressive how technology keeps the medium alive.
And the beauty is, it still maintains the personal touch. A voice coming through the airways feels immediate, no matter the platform.
Agreed. It's a testament to the enduring power of communication.
Before we end, a big thank you to all of you, Shaf, Zuzu, and Shasha. Your insight have added so much depth to our discussion.
And thank you, Adam, for steering us through this conversation. It's been a pleasure exploring this topic together.
Definitely. Let's go do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Here's to the impact of radio, past, present, and future.